What do you think about a 16-13 baseball game?
I think baseball is still too long, even notwithstanding all the rules changes that have happened, which I welcome and I think they've benefited from. But my gosh, these games are going far, far too long. So you got to figure that out before I.
You got to find a winner, right? You got to get to a winner.
There's no failure in sports, Hugh.
There's no
failure.
You know what? Put your arms around it, get a T-shirt made, and show up. Congressman, you appeared with Khanna this week to talk about Hong Kong and other things. I want you to expand on that because I'm very happy when Republicans and Democrats appear together to denounce the Chinese Communist Party.
Well, last week, as I announced on your show, Ro and I actually did an hour together on Twitter Spaces with Elon Musk as well. We had a wide-ranging conversation about artificial intelligence primarily, which included some spirited disagreements on the issue of whether the Chinese Communist Party, would be a constructive actor when it comes to artificial intelligence. I think it's fair to say that Elon Musk is a bit more optimistic about their ability to act constructively, said that they're on Team Humanity, whereas I voiced my skepticism, and my skepticism comes from the fact that they've been a destructive actor in most of the international organizations and forums that we've allowed them into. And then in previous instances where, for example, engagers have made the case for cooperating with China on, let's say, pandemic prevention, we've learned at great cost to our own society, at devastating cost to our own society, the perils of cooperating with China on advanced technology, gain of function research in that case. And in this case, I think we should just assume, and I think we know, that the Chinese Communist Party would use artificial intelligence for evil, not for good, and therefore we need to beat them in the AI race. So Khanna has been a great partner on the Innovation Subcommittee on the Armed Services Committee. He's a member of the Hugh Hewitt program as well. So I really enjoy the wide-ranging. Exactly. I respect his intellectual curiosity, and I really enjoy when we're able to have wide-ranging bipartisan discussions, and he's been a great partner on some of these issues.
You know, I want to talk to you about AI specifically. Elon Musk's comments to you about China, I do not agree with. He's a brilliant guy. I'm not sure how much he knows about Marxist-Leninist states. Did it strike you as though, and I don't know if you put in my request for an interview. I mean, you did make a promise to me, but it's a Wisconsin promise. It goes away like the cheese. Did you get an interview for me?
I'd have to review the tape, but you should just know I'm always shilling for you, Hugh. Everywhere I go, I say you need to go on Hugh Hewitt's show.
You know, I'll bet you Ro asked him and you didn't. I think Ro probably told him you can trust you. But I've got Peter Thiel coming on to talk about AI. I am not worried about AI. I am worried about being behind China in AI. And people are going to go see the new Mission Impossible movie, which is an AI demon, devil, villain. And they're going to get the wrong idea that we got to get out of the AI business. We can't, Congressman Gallagher. Can you explain to people why we can't?
Yeah, well, we had an AI hearing on the Innovation Committee on Armed Services yesterday with Alex Wang, the CEO of Scale AI, and a few other experts. And this issue really came out. And I think Mark Andreessen actually put it best in a paper he recently wrote called Why AI Will Save the World, which he said that the single greatest risk of AI is that China wins the competition, that China dominates the technology and the West loses it. That's what we know for sure. So we don't have the luxury of pausing, because if we pause, the Chinese Communist Party won't pause. They'll go further ahead, and they will use this technology not only to repress their own people, not only to perfect this genocidal totalitarian surveillance state that they're perfecting, but also to export that model around the world, establish military dominance. What came out in the hearing yesterday was the profound military implications of having AI dominance and the need for the United States military to act with greater alacrity when it comes to harnessing the massive amounts of data, the terabytes and terabytes of data that they emit every day, and how we need to start thinking about data as ammunition and turn the DoD into a data sort of consuming and analysis organization. If we don't do that, we're just going to allow the CCP to win this race. It's going to have implications as profound as the nuclear race had in the early stages of the old Cold War.
You know, I want to use that analogy because a lot of people misunderstand. If we didn't invent the bomb, a totalitarian state would have done so first. So it's good that we had it for mutually assured destruction. We need indestructible AI, artificial intelligence capability, or the only people with it will be the Chinese Communist Party And have you seen Mission Impossible yet, Congressman?
I have not, Hugh. But
okay, I'm going to recommend.
Anything.
I never recommend movies, but quite seriously, this is going to be what the American people think AI is, and it's not. It's war games updated with Tom Cruise doing Tom Cruise stunts. So it's a fun movie, but they're not going to understand that AI is a targeting device above all else and a destabilizing device above all else, and the only way to beat it is to match it and exceed it. Do you think we are in that position right now?
Not if we continue on the status quo path, but I think there's a few sensible things we can do. One, DOD has, and this came out in the hearing yesterday, a good set of ethical frameworks for the use of AI, guardrails, if you will, on the use of AI. And because our constituents know Terminator and they are now going to know Mission Impossible, I think they tend to see the negative externalities more clearly than they do the potential positive externalities. So we need to have some guardrails on the use of this technology. That's the first thing we can do. The second thing is we need to take action to slow the Chinese down. American investors, both passive and active, should not be allowed to invest in Chinese AI companies. It makes absolutely no sense. We need to prevent that from happening. The third thing we need to do is to to clear up the loopholes for our chip exports. We denied the Chinese access to the most advanced chips, but they're still, because of certain loopholes, able to get access to chips that have somewhere between 80 to 95% the same capacity. AI requires GPUs. There's a finite number of GPUs right now in the world, so we need to cut off the Chinese ability to access the availability of GPUs, even the less advanced ones. So those are a few things we can do. The final thing I would say, Hugh, is when it comes to autonomous vehicles, we need to insist on basic reciprocity. Of the 10 companies that are testing AVs in California, 3 are Chinese, despite the fact that our companies are not allowed in the Chinese markets. That's not fair. There should be basic reciprocity. We should kick them out if we're not allowed in the Chinese industry.
Amen to all that. I also want a Manhattan Project and maybe DARPA's running one. I don't see the DARPA budget. Maybe you do. Ken Calvert probably does. Do you think we've got a Manhattan Project level commitment of resources and talent overseen by the feds?
I don't. One thing that came out in our hearing yesterday was the last Pathfinder project or grand challenge that we've done in DOD related to AI was Project Maven, which dates back to 2017. This gets back to our broken acquisition system and how ossified it is. So what we need to do is give the Secretary of Defense enough flexibility, let's say $1 billion a year, where he can make big bets on certain commercial AI capabilities that have defense applications. Some of those are going to fail, by the way. We have
Palantir. I own Palantir because Peter Thiel is brilliant, and I own Amazon because it's big. But they're both AI companies. Today, the Wall Street Journal says it's getting crazy on AI stock trading. I'm not happy about that, but I want us to win. Do you think Democrats share your point of view on that, and will they talk to Lena Khan about not crippling our AI companies?
I think some do. What I see on the Democratic side is primarily a concern with how AI might destroy jobs in America. And there, I think the studies are mixed. And I think it's fair to say we don't know. And I think there's as strong of a case to say AI might it's certainly going to disrupt a lot of industries, but could it actually create a lot of jobs that are higher paying and better than certain current jobs that exist. So I think that's a lot of the concerns the Democrats express, as well as just a general proclivity for regulating more intensely than Republicans have. But
Rick, I'm question, Congressman. Are you going to hold a hearing on Chinese nationals with green cards in the United States? Because their espionage effort is overwhelming.
Well, we had a briefing yesterday. It was classified, so I can't get into details. But this issue came up, and certainly we're going to be holding a hearing on everything that the Chinese Communist Party is doing domestically, ranging from exploiting our university system and our lack of research security to the issue of illegal police stations on U.S. soil and the way in which they weaponize our weak FARA laws, Foreign Agent Registration Act laws, in order to co-opt elites, former members of Congress, to do their bidding, which is absolutely unconscionable. So yes, we will be tackling, once we get kind of through this economic statecraft phase of our work, we're going to get into what I call the ideological competition, which includes how we defend our own sovereignty from China's espionage.
But $5 in the acronym tip